Okay, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So whoever has joined today, I request you to just go through the part 1 and part 2 also, so that you'll have the continuity. Because the solution for all the problems I have discussed in the second class itself, that is a base of our teachings. So today we are going to learn about the practical application of soul knowledge. So I will just refer to the Sankhya Yoga. So in this Sankhya Yoga, we'll first go to the 18th shloka. So yesterday we studied about how we should stabilize our mind. So who has to stabilize it? I have to do it. So who is that I here? It is the soul. So in this chapter, the qualities of the soul have been discussed. So if we go to the 18th shloka, here it is said, embodied consciousness is eternal, imperishable, and infinite. Only the material body is perishable. Therefore, O Arjuna, fight. So how do we put this knowledge into practical life is embodied consciousness. So means the soul is with the body. So it is eternal, matlab avinashi, imperishable and infinite. So only the material body is perishable. So how do we put this into practical life is we will create a thought that I am an eternal soul. Once we create a thought that I am an eternal soul, so the mind will come to such a state that where you will overcome the fear. Once you overcome the fear, you will experience the freedom. So to go in detail, next we'll go to the 13th shloka. I'm not going in the order because to make you understand. So in the 13th shloka, it is said, as the soul passes through the bodily transformations of childhood, youth, and old age, it similarly transmigrates from one body to another at the time of death. The wise are never deluded by this transition. So it sounds so simple here, but in the practical life, we are actually afraid of death because we are leaving our uh, relatives, our family members, and this is totally the death is unknown, which we have not experienced. So we are experiencing that fear, but here the Supreme Father says the wise are never deluded by this transition. So we'll read one other shloka also. In the 20th sloka, here it is said the individual unit of consciousness neither takes birth nor dies at any time. It has never been created, nor it will ever be created. It is unborn, eternal, indestructible, and timeless. It is not destroyed when the material body is destroyed. So now we'll come to the practical application. So this is the nature of the soul. That is, it is eternal. Nobody can destroy it. So now when we practice this knowledge by saying that I am an eternal soul, we'll reach a stage where we'll overcome the fear. So once we overcome the fear, we'll experience yesterday what we learned is we are in a mental prison. The here in the world, the main problem is fear and overthinking. So the overthinking is originating from the fear. So what is that fear? It is a fear of death. It is a fear of losing our family members and the relations, fear of losing the name and fame, fear of losing the materialistic properties what we have earned in our life. So once we come to know that I am the soul, that nothing can be destroyed. See, once we leave the body, as we read in the 13th shloka, it is getting transmigrated to some other body. Means we are only leaving the body. It is not that the soul is destroyed. So sounds very simple, but people keep on crying. They keep on experiencing that attachment, which is actually leading to sorrow. So that's why in the practical, what we are teaching here in the practical knowledge, you need to practice this thought that I am an eternal soul. Once you practice this, it will have an impact on the mind where you will overcome the fear of death and you will understand that death does not exist. This is almost at the higher level. But once you practice it, initially when I read the Bhagavad Gita, I thought it is impossible to overcome the fear. But since I'm practicing it for the past 11 years, now I'm not practicing because we have come to that state of mind. So how do we remember in the practical situation says, once you practice it, somebody threatens you or somewhere you feel the fear, at that time, the soul will give you an indication. See, now we are practicing it that I am an eternal soul. So now your soul will absorb the thought. So at the appropriate time, when you experience fear, your soul will give an indication that you are an eternal soul. So at that moment, you will overcome that fear. So there's nothing to worry. Are we going to remember all these things? So you will remember. How do you remember is you will not remember the entire knowledge. You will only understand it. So what is it you are going to remember it? You are going to just practice it. You are going to sit for 5 minutes. It's not that no need to spend separate time for that. According to your convenience, you can just practice the thought that I am an eternal soul. Once you practice this thought, your consciousness will raise to such an extent that where you'll overcome the fear. You got the point? Or is it sounding something impossible, which we cannot do it, or it cannot happen? Or Tinky, as you say, that somebody will again trigger. Hmm?
We'll try.
See what
Everything comes with practice, ma'am. Everything comes with
so
practice.
whoever the people are triggering it, whoever are pressing the remote, it is actually they are supporting us to progress on this path of spirituality. Because if you attend the Zoom classes like this, everything seems to be simple. But how do you know that whether you have really progressed or not? So somebody has to support you, isn't it? Because in these classes, I'll be teaching you only the theory. I will show you the slide and I will tell the shloka, I will tell the practical application, I'll make you practice it. But have you really reached that stage that where you have overcome the fear or not? The fear of losing yourself, the fear of losing your relatives, the fear of losing your name and fame, the fear of losing the materialistic property. Have you really overcome that or not? Only the people who are in and around you will support you. They will keep on triggering you, they'll put you to the test. So at that time, you'll come to know whether you have overcome that fear or not. Once you overcome the fear, you really experience the beauty of life because fear is such a low state of mind, almost a very low state of mind, where you almost go into the loop of negative and waste thoughts. You'll enter into such a loop that where you'll find it very difficult to come out of it. It will start with tension, it will go up to stress, and from there it will go to depression also. Means the degree will keep on going with the intensity of the fear. So once here at the knowledge level itself, if you understand that you're not going to lose anything, you're only leaving the body. So that will give you so much freedom. And as per your relatives are concerned, as per the money is concerned, as per the name and fame is concerned, all these things will come along with the soul. What I mean to say is, see, the soul, once it takes birth, as per the karmic philosophy only, as per your own actions, you will get your family members and relatives. Once your karmic account is settled, you will be moving to some other group. Okay. So this knowledge you have, so there's nothing to worry about it. Once your karmic account is settled with your family members, immediately the soul will leave the body. So you will be going to some other group where you have the karmic account. Suppose somebody is poor in this birth and he has done some all good deeds. So to experience, to enjoy what all the good deeds he has done, he has to go to some other place, isn't it? So we should take it in that level. It's not that you do some wrong things and to suffer it, we go there. So Bhagavad Gita is only telling us to do elevated actions, to experience the life. So the purpose of life is only to live. And as far as the money is concerned, as far as the name and fame is concerned, you keep on doing it. The whatever money you earned, if you donate it, that punyakata will come along with the soul. So it's not that you're not living. So whatever knowledge is imparted here, you should understand in the context of non-physical things. If you understand Bhagavad Gita in relation to physical thing, you will get all wrong answers. If you understand in the context of soul, non-physical things, then you will get all the right answers. Okay, so I'll once again show you the thought which has to be created. So, so for just 1 minute, we'll practice it so that even after the class also, you can practice it as per the convenience. This will be anyhow, you can see it in the YouTube also, and even in our WhatsApp group also I have posted it. So this is an elevated thought way. So what is an elevated thought? A thought which is in alignment with our true nature of the soul. So the true nature of the soul is that it is indestructible.
Eternal.
Pardon?
Eternal.
Eternal, yeah. So it is an eternal. So we will be creating thoughts in relation to our original nature. So this is elevated thought to be practiced and imbibed in a practical life. So once you practice this, your consciousness will raise to such an extent where you feel the eternality, and the impact will be you will be overcoming the fear of death and understand that death does not exist. So for just 1 minute, just practice it. So while practicing it, whether to close the eyes or open the eyes, what do you say? How should we practice something?
Ma'am, eyes closed.
Okay, you
Eyes
have closed
widely.
your so you have closed your eyes and you have practiced I am an eternal soul. Okay. Then you have gone to your office. So after going to the office, somebody says something negative against you, where you think that your name and fame are damaged. So now at that moment, your soul, then you'll start feeling the fear. Okay. So at that time, your soul will put an indication that you are an eternal soul. You will then your consciousness will shift and you'll not experience the fear. So in the practical situation, are you keeping your eyes open or you're closing? Somebody says something, will you close your eyes and then you practice this thought?
No.
So all the actions what we are performing, we are doing it by keeping our eyes open. So practice also should happen with the eyes open. Suppose I'm going on the road. If we are in Hyderabad, so most of the time, if you are in the Hyderabad with the traffic, most of the people will be living under the fear that we may meet with an accident. Is it not? So how to overcome that fear? By creating a thought, I am an eternal soul. Okay. So once we create a thought that I am an eternal soul, we will overcome the fear. And suppose in case, unfortunately, if we are going to meet with any accident also, the soul will give you an indication to be careful, because now you have raised your consciousness. Now we are in the soul consciousness stage. Earlier we were in the body consciousness stage. So before coming on to this path of knowledge, on the path of devotion, before going out of the house, we used to pray and we used to go out. But still we were experiencing the fear, because people will come in such a way. We don't know from which side who will come. And most of the time they will come in the wrong direction also. And so many fightings also will be happening here. Is it not? So we were praying to God, but still we were experiencing the fear. But on the path of knowledge, you're totally going to shift your consciousness that I am an eternal soul. So whatever, once you start driving it, while driving also, you are keeping your eyes open. So anything's going to happen. So immediately your soul will put an indication to be careful. So that is the difference in being in the body consciousness and the soul consciousness. See, I worked in State Bank. Before sanctioning any loan, once we create a thought that I am a peaceful soul and just connect to the Supreme Soul, suppose anything wrong is going to happen with our signature, the soul will give an indication, a very clear indication to be careful. Because nowadays people are such a good actors, we cannot discriminate who is right, who is wrong, what are the intentions, whether good or bad, nothing can be analyzed. But how do we know all these things? So once you raise your consciousness from body consciousness, soul consciousness, your soul itself will start guiding you. Your soul itself will telling you to either stop or to take some precautions, to caution, whatever it will, everything your soul will guide you.
Ma'am, is that intuition?
You can call it as intuition also.
Ma'am,
Intuition,
uh,
signs from the soul, signals from the soul. So immediately, even if you get even if you don't get a clear picture also, but at least you know whether we are doing right or wrong, because we cannot rely on people nowadays. Suppose today, if you have any problem and if you consult all the people, you will end up taking a wrong decision.
Yeah.
Because exactly in any situation, what we are doing, we know that. For example, if we take a loan proposal, all the field officers, everybody will come with that loan. But whether the person who is applied for the loan has the right intention and what all the papers he has submitted, are they genuine or fake? Because nowadays in the banks, we see so many fake. Sometimes we cannot make out also. Everything seems to be genuine. So now the soul will give you a signal. Now the soul will show you some signs, some intuitions where it says that it is not genuine. So then you can go for a second check where you can protect yourself.
ma'am,
Why
is
all
that our soul indicates or our subconscious mind give us the message?
conscious mind and subconscious mind are a part of the soul? In the outside
Ah,
world, actually, people are taught as mind, body, and soul. Body, you know.
yeah.
So they are telling it as mind and soul. So what is
Because
this mind and
we
body?
didn't experience any soul experience, na? Ki, yeah, this is our soul or kind
See,
of, we just heard.
are you experiencing your feelings of fear? Have you
Uh,
ever felt fear?
yeah,
So from
fear
where you are experiencing it?
from any incident we feel inside our body, na? Ki, yeah, yeah, this is our fear. We feel some
Huh.
palpitation or something like.
Huh. Okay. If let us take my example. So now I'm experiencing fear.
Mm-hmm.
So now the soul has left the body, because now the three shlokas what we read, we understood that the soul will leave the body and it will migrate to some other body. So now the soul has come out of my body. Will
Mm-hmm.
I experience the fear or not?
No.
Why?
Because
The
as
dead
we know,
body
so
is the
body
dead
is
body experiencing the fear or not?
no.
Why?
Because it was in the body itself. The fear was for the body.
So who is experiencing the fear here?
Body, which is not permanent.
Then why the dead body is not experiencing the fear?
Because the fear was completely in mind. I don't know.
That is what I'm trying to say.
Mind is feeling the fear.
Mind, soul, hearts. See, in the pictures, they show it as a heart as something physical. See, these are all confusing terms which were you listen in the outside world. Yesterday also I was talking about the law of attraction. They only talk about law of attraction. They will not talk about the karmic philosophy, because people will not attend the sessions.
Yes.
Once I say that you are wrong, they say
Mhm.
you create a thought, you manifest it. You once you create a thought, you'll manifest it. Whatever you think, you'll happen. So while driving in Hyderabad, do I think that I will meet with an accident and my body should crash?
No.
I suppose if I think also, will it happen? Suppose if a woman is going outside, will she create a thought that somebody should physically abuse her?
Never.
Suppose if anybody is getting married, are they going to manifest that they're going to get divorced? Suppose if
No.
a young chap is going to an office, is he going to manifest that he'll be dismissed from the service? Why all these things are happening then if nobody is creating such thoughts? There were
Because
so
of the
many
fear of the soul, which is already there.
because of the actions what they're doing. That will come at the
I
later
think
part.
I
See,
think
I'm
if it
answering this question because she's asking that why is it happening?
Ma'am, one more thing. Suppose if we die with the fear, when we
Hmm.
die with the fear of something, maybe an accident or an abuse or a divorce or whatever it is. So that
Hmm.
fear is imbibed in the soul. In the next soul journey also, we will have that fear
What is
embedded into
imbibed in
it.
the soul? His karmic account is
That
imbibed in the soul.
that
So
karmic
here the
account will also
question
be affected
is,
by
that
fear.
is at the karmic philosophy level. Okay? Here the what's your name? Momita.
Momita.
Momita. So here her question is, who is experiencing the fear? Is it the body or the soul? So my question was, is the dead body experiencing the fear?
No.
Okay,
In that case, soul is experiencing the fear.
experience. So I will give you a physical example. Suppose I am suffering with some physical ailment. Okay, let us think about heart attack, liver problem, multi-organ failure. Suppose my soul has come out. Suppose I was suffering with heart attack or joint pains or whatever it may be. Once the soul has come out, will the body experience the disease or not?
No.
No.
Why is the body not experiencing it? Because at the time of my death, I had so many problems. Doctors have conducted some operations also. Then once the soul is coming out, why I'm not experiencing the disease then? But the disease was there, isn't it? With the disease
Yes.
itself, I have left the body. So who is experiencing the disease actually here is the suffering is
So,
actually experienced by the soul,
soul.
not by the body. So
Mm.
the three shlokas, what we have studied here is actually pointing out to this point that the soul is eternal and the body is perishable.
Mm.
So you are only leaving the body and going to the other body. Why this knowledge
Mm.
is required? So that you will overcome the fear. You will
Mm.
focus on the soul. So
Mm.
once you overcome the fear, even your body will get disease free because the psychologist says the root cause of all the diseases is fear and anger.
Fear, fear. Come on.
Is it not? So I have
Mm.
overcome the fear. Today's class, we are
Mm.
discussing about the fear. So
Mm.
once you overcome the fear, you will experience the
Mm.
peace at the thought level. You will
Mm.
experience health at the body level. Your
Mm.
relationships will be okay. And even the five elements of nature that we cover it at the later part, even the five
Mm.
elements of nature also
Mm.
will go in your favor.
Mm.
So this is the vastness of the subject. We are actually here at the soul knowledge itself. After
Mm.
this, we'll go to the supreme soul, then the karmic philosophy, then the five elements of nature. All these things we'll be understanding as we progress on this path. So in this class, I request you to understand that whatever we are experiencing, it is the soul which is experiencing.
Ma'am, this soul
Dead body.
experience
So
of
you should
fear.
understand in relation with the dead body. Is the dead body experiencing all these things? It is not.
Mm.
That
Ma'am,
means the soul. Hmm.
one thing, uh, the fear that we have in this lifetime may
Hmm.
be the accumulated fear of our soul from the previous birth also.
Yeah, it is the accumulated fear. Now, after attending this Bhagavad Gita classes, you will overcome it. So, in your next lifetimes, you will not experience it, even in this present
Mm.
lifetime and even in the next lifetimes also. Because once the soul is migrating from one body to the other, it is carrying all these sanskars, the sanskars of fear, the sanskars of courage. So, the Supreme Father says, whatever is there, you just try to do it in the present life itself.
Mm.
Instead of just going on from birth to birth and carrying all the negative karmic account and suffering, he's asking us to experience the peace and happiness.
Mm.
So, where do we get the peace and happiness? Just now we read it. That once you overcome the fear, then you will experience the peace. The number of thoughts come down. In the yesterday class, I have said. Once the
Mm.
number of thoughts comes down, you will experience peace. If the number of
Mm.
thoughts increases, if you enter into a loop, as I said, once you have that fear, that's a very low state of mind where you'll almost enter into a loop of thoughts one after the other, and you will experience tension. In the initial stages, it will be tension. That means you're not focusing on your thoughts. Next level, it will be stress. Means what you think and what the reality. There is a wide gap where you'll experience the stress. And then at the later stage, you'll get depressed, where even for on the happy occasions also, you don't feel happy.
Mm.
Totally a higher degree of sorrow. Means one by one step is going because people are not addressing the issue at the tension level itself.
Mm.
Tension means where you're not putting attention on your thoughts. Somebody says something, immediately we are saying they are disrespecting us. Somebody wants to attack us, immediately we'll create a thought that I'm going to die.
Mm.
Anything, we are only creating negative thoughts and waste thoughts, which is creating the fear.
Mm.
So no peace and happiness at the thought level, no health at the body level.
Mm.
Relationships are going in which direction they are going, we don't know.
Mm.
And the
Mm.
five elements of nature are also going against us. So
Mm.
all these things are happening because of the thoughts and because of the karmic accounts what we are creating. So the karmic accounts are created with our thoughts and words only, and with our actions only. So now you need to
Mhm.
understand in this class that the soul is eternal, and what all the practical things now we have discussed. Just remember that we'll give you the recording also. In the next class, we will understand what is this mind and what is this intellect, what is this soul, and what all the words used in the world. So all these things we'll try to understand in the second class, in the next class, so that this confusion will go. What is the soul and what is the mind? Mind is a part of the soul.
Mm.
The soul itself thinks, the soul itself will decides, the soul itself creates the sanskars, which you call in the outside
Mm.
world as conscious mind
Mm.
and subconscious mind. These are all
Mm.
scientific. Conscious mind, subconscious mind, energy, these are all scientific words. Soul is the
Mm.
spiritual word.
Mm.
But the entire base for all the knowledge is the teachings of the Supreme Father only. It is the Bhagavad Gita only.
Mm. So basically, ma'am, taking deep into this kumbh water will not help you unless and until you have that soul consciousness in you.
See, suppose I have committed a murder now. I will take that knife and I will go and dip it in the kumbh there. Will
Mm.
you exonerate me from the
Not
punishment?
at all.
Why? Because
So
I
why
have
all
murdered
this hype?
somebody, I went and I have dipped my knife there. Na? So
So
who
why all
has
this hype, ma'am? Why all this hype? Why people were dying?
ignorance?
Or why all people
Ignorance.
are dying to go and take a dip?
Ignorance.
Only ignorance.
Ignorance and this, what you're talking about, the Bhakti Yoga,
It's a
the path
trend
of
also.
devotion, it is in the 12th chapter. So we'll just go by chapter and chapter. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, God has said about Bhakti in the 12th chapter. It is not the
Mm.
second chapter.
Mm.
The moment Arjuna was experiencing the grief, the sorrow,
Mm.
immediately he has said the solution as that you identify yourself as the soul. And
Mm.
remember the yesterday's class that where the soul
Mm.
has to rule over the senses. This is the solution
Mm.
for the problem to come out of the
Mm.
sorrow. It is
Mm.
not the 12th chapter bhakti that where you sit and do the
Mm.
physical rituals.
Mm.
He has
Mm.
placed it in the 12th chapter, not as a second chapter. That is
Mm.
a path of devotion. Suppose if you're
Mm.
not able to do it at the non-physical level,
Mm.
then we'll take the support of the physicality and then we'll try to reach the non-physical level.
Mm.
You
Yeah,
got the
Mm.
yeah, it
point?
is said that the 12th chapter, the Bhakti Yoga, is the basic understanding how to connect with the God, and this is the
True
easiest
body.
way.
True
Easiest way.
body.
Mm.
Yes, yes. See, I will
True body.
explain this. Yeah, I will tell you. See, when I was in LKG, I was taught this A for apple.
Mm.
So teacher showed me, it showed us a physical apple. Hmm. Suppose at this age, if somebody says apple, is it necessary for me to show a physical apple? Not
Yes, it
at
is
this
necessary.
age,
No,
not
no, not,
required.
not, not. At this age, it is not
It is
required.
not required. When I was in the lower kindergarten, at that time when I was learning my alphabets, at that time teacher showed me that A is for apple. Even in they showed the physical apple also. At the home, mother showed the physical apple. At the school level, teacher showed the chart, isn't it? So at this age, somebody says apple means I can easily figure out, isn't it? No need for you to show a physical apple and again explain me that this is apple.
Mm.
So in the same way, even the Bhakti Yoga is actually the Abhyasa Yoga,
Mm.
that where you practice that who is God and how to do it, and then you'll progress step by step, and where you reach the non-physical. Because the soul is non-physical, you have to connect to the non-physical only.
Mm. Exactly. Mm.
You are a non-physical soul, and you cannot get connect to the physical. Got the point? To empower the soul has to connect to the supreme soul only.
I
So the
got it. Why it is
non-physical will never
important?
get connected to the physical. Yes,
I
Tinky, you say.
understood.
Hmm.
Because like when we start teaching in the preschool, ma'am, in the play group, we give them crayons. Then we gradually give them pencil, and then
Hmm.
finally we write with a pen. So body is also just like that, because first, without body, without involving the body, people will not understand or not give time to God and spend and become this what you call that, punctual. We
Hmm.
will not take God as granted. Na, we will do our own things only. Why
Hmm.
we will spend, if there is no physical involvement with the God, we will not try to spend time with them. So that much
Yes.
time, that much effort also we will not give. So when you start connecting with the soul purpose, when you understand your soul consciousness, then physical bhakti is not that much important. I mean, I feel so.
Only the after the path of devotion only will enter the path of knowledge.
Mm.
Hmm. But here these are the teachings, isn't it? What we are learning, we are
Mm.
not doing any physical puja. Here is we are
Mm.
studying. We are studying
Mm.
the self-study, it's the soul knowledge.
Yes.
So this
Like.
knowledge will come only to those people who are interested, who wants to know, who wants to progress. It will come only to those people.
Mm.
People don't want to progress. People simply want to blame the God for whatever things are happening or something physical like Kumbh Mela, that where they want to
Mhm.
take a dip and cleanse all their sins. So the sins, the wrong things, what we are doing, these are all non-physical. So that
Yes,
non-physical things cannot be washed away by the physical water. So if you
absolutely.
really want to do it from the path of devotion, from the bhakti side, what we are supposed to do is we have to take a dip in the kumbh there, and you have to take a oath that from
Both.
now
Yes, yes.
onwards, I'm not going to do anything wrong.
Exactly.
So the past karmic accounts, what I have, the pap, what you call, that will be there. And from the day when I have taken the dip, I have taken a decision I'm not going to do any wrong deeds, and I will start doing all the elevated deeds, elevated action. So now what will happen? My soul power goes up, and what all the negative impact of this pap is there, I will not experience.
Mm.
You got the point? But it's a very lengthy procedure.
Mm.
The shortcut is if the soul gets connected to the supreme soul, the non-physical gets connected to the non-physical, automatically the path, whatever is there, it gets destroyed. It
Destroyed.
gets destroyed means that doesn't mean, just note this point, that the consequence what you're supposed to face, that will, it will not, it's not that it will not come, it will come.
It will come. Mm.
But you will have the power to face it. Suppose I have done something wrong. Because of that wrong, suppose if I'm supposed to experience any physical illness, that will come. But with what magnitude? With the magnitude of something like that, pahad rai ki tarah, rai rui ki tarah. Means the
Mm.
magnitude of the problem which has to come with the size of a mountain. It will just come with the magnitude of a cotton which we can just blow it off.
Blow.
To that extent, the magnitude will come down. That is the reason why God is required. So
Mm.
you will take a dip, take a very strong oath. You have to stand by it, saying that I will not do any wrong things. So you will start doing all good actions. So that whatever your past is there, even if it comes before you, your soul power will be there to face it, and slowly your past karmic account will get dissolved.
Mm.
That is how you have to do it on the path of devotion. Or else a
Mm.
shortcut method, directly get connected to the Supreme. So all his divine rays
Mm.
will enter your soul and you destroy your
Mm.
path. The consequence comes, but still you'll not feel the magnitude.
Mm.
This is how you have to do. If you're coming from the path of devotion, you have to go to the Kumbh.
Mm.
You have to go by train, flight, book the rooms, go there, dip there, then come back. Then also you have to apply leave in the office. You have to pack it. All these lengthy procedures will be there. So on the path of knowledge, just press the Zoom link. You can interact and you can learn and do it. So this is the
Ah.
easiest way. So you have to
Mm.
decide whether you want to go by the shortcut and the easiest. This is a direct route, or else you
Or
want
you
to
connect by
go to
Wi-Fi.
the Allahabad. Hmm?
Or you connect by Wi-Fi, or you go and check out other networks, and then Jio and Airtel and Vodafone. You keep on
Anyhow,
searching for
everything you're
network.
doing it sitting at your home only, na? So going
Mm.
to Allahabad and taking a dip, is it so easy?
Not at all.
Going by the rush there. And even if you take a dip also, and even if you take a very strong oath also, people will push you in such a way, automatically something will come out of your mouth. That people
Mm.
don't understand, they don't have common sense. In spite of coming to Kumbh, they don't maintain their decency. So you will say so many things again, you'll accumulate this much pap and you'll come back. Even if you see in the temple, people keep on pushing them. They say so many things. Don't you think
Mm.
that some sin is getting accumulated? There you
Yes,
have to be
obviously.
with compassion. You have to accommodate people, isn't it? So people, they go there, they again create something new and they come out. They'll settle their past and they'll create something new. So when you're going to come out of this cycle then?
Mm.
Is it not? So we need to be very cautious at the thought level. So initially, sometimes you will be able to do it, sometimes you'll not be able to do it, but just have a review. whether you are able to do it or not. So a stage will come where everything will become a natural process for you. Okay. So we'll meet tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll understand the nature of the soul, and with some practical examples. Just listen to this recording and once again think, because you should have a clear idea that it is the soul which is experiencing and not the body. Just think about the example which I gave about the dead body. Dead body is not experiencing anything, neither tension, nor any disease, nor any relationship problems, nor any problems from the 5 elements of nature. It's totally useless there. That everything is undergone by the soul only. The soul is only taking the another birth. So the God is saying that just do it in a very simple, what all you're doing now, just do that only, but with a good intention, without experiencing fear, so that you get a stable mind and you'll experience the beauty of the life, the happiness, the satisfaction. That's all. Okay. So we'll meet tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.